is getting smaller. So allow me to take you into South Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see that, or you saw in the past, that I always had sort of a structure to what I'm talking, going from the one to the next. Now, today, there's almost no structure. It, well, yeah, there's almost no structure. Now, what I want to do is to talk in primary schools in South Africa to get the grade 1s and 2s to communicate. They will bring something from home, and we call it a show and tell. So they will bring something and the child will tell you about it. So today I'm going to do a show and tell. Now, if you do if you travel to a new city, what do? You always go onto the internet and you top 10 things to do in London, the top 10 things to do in Durban. That's what we do. And if you scroll down a little bit, you find that they want to sell trips to you. And yeah, it's always, the trips that you can buy. So, oh, I'm not drunk. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give you my top 10 things. I don't know whether you'll find it on the internet, but this is mine. So, I'll go to Cape Town because that's where I grew up, where I studied and stayed the greater part of my life. So I'll talk a little bit about Cape Town. I don't want to go too deep into Cape Town because Jeremy is doing an immaculate job, a fantastic job of telling you about the ports that you are visiting. What he told you about Durban, spot on. Do the Bunny Chow. Do Florida Road. Go to the Marine World. You don't have to go on to the rides. You don't, because the aquarium is really magnificent. And I'm not working for the Tourism Board of South Africa. So, Cape Town. It's also known as the Mother City. That's where everything started. And ladies and gentlemen, you do have a very good waterfront. And if you want to buy things to take home, that's the place to go. And Cape Point, they'll say, I've been in Cape Point. That's only the most southern point of the Cape Peninsula. It's not the most southern point of South Africa, or Africa for that matter. Boulders Beach, maybe Jeremy will tell you about that. It is something special. I'll come back to that too. And Robben Island, I understand a lot of you are going to Robben Island to see Mandela's prison. If the weather is okay, if there's no wind, it can be a smooth ride to Robben Island. Otherwise, it can be rolling around a little bit. And for the foodies, those of you who like to try something else, there's a lot of very good restaurants. Go onto the internet. It's all around the waterfront and close by. But the two that I like is Bismillah restaurant. There you can taste the real Cape influence in the food. You'll find something called babouti. That's a curry dish with bread, raisins in it, something else. And those who like meat, steaks, you will go to Nelson's Eye. It's not Nelson Mandela's Eye, it is Horatio Nelson's eye. I think he lost in a battle. So, but both of them you will need transport to go to, and maybe a Uber will be the best way to go. So here we have Cape Town. Now, the harbour is sort of on the left-hand side of the photo. The bigger blue area, that's more. I don't know where you will dock, but that is the main dock, and just south of that, that is the waterfront. So a distance to travel, but as I said, a very good waterfront to go to. The white circle towards the south of this is the stadium that they built for the Soccer World Cup. White was a white elephant, not a lot happening there, but now they're bringing back soccer as well as rugby to be played there. The green areas, and this is Green Point, south of that. Green, you can see the green. There's a 9-hole golf course, and then the special part for me is next to the golf course there is a nature area, Green Point Common. Now they replanted all the vegetation that you used to see in Cape Town and the Western Cape there, so it is really, really nice. So Green Point here, further up the coast is Sea Point, and I understand that some of you are going to Camps Bay for an evening outing. Is that so? Okay, so those of you, that's the place to be seen. It is on the beach. Between you and the beach is a road, and all the restaurants are along this piece of road. So Camps Bay, and then right back towards the furthest end that you can't see is Cape Point. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just to show you, this is Boulders Beach. And again, the population got involved, and they protect this area because penguins really don't breed on the continents. They really on an island to keep them safe from predators. But here you can see this happy feet going along, and during right at the beginning of COVID, we were locked down solidly. We couldn't get out of our houses except if you want to go to the shops. So I made a point to go to the shops. Just bought a little bit of food so that I can go out. And during this time, you know, the nature came back into the towns, and there was images of these little penguins going for a walk into the town. Three behind each other, and the cars were stopping and they were crossing the road. So something special if you can make it to that. And then Cape Point. This is now the most southern point of the Cape Peninsula. And I understand there's Afrikaans classes going to happen on the ship. Now, there you can see Cape of Hope. This is your first Afrikaans class. Next to that, the same thing in Afrikaans. Kaap die goeie hoop. Now let's look at the words. Cape, Kaap. In Dutch, also Kaap. Goeie, good, goed in Dutch, and then the last part, hope, hoop in Dutch, hope, hoop in Afrikaans. So you see, somewhere along these languages must have been connected, because you can hear the same sound in these words. The R and the D on the Afrikaans side, you can't really translate to. Okay, let's move on to the winelands of the Western Cape. So the main towns within the winelands are Stellenbosch, Franschhoek and Paarl. Stellenbosch, small town, a university town, where I did all my studies. Franschhoek, okay, let's continue. What do you find in this area? You find a large number of wine farms. You find wine estates with fascinating and fantastic wine tasting facilities. Stellenbosch, as I said, an old town, university town, and in it the village museum, or the Dorpsmuseum. And ladies and gentlemen, in this Dorpsmuseum, village museum, they have 4 houses, more or less from 4 different eras, and they refurnished it to those eras that they came from. So interesting thing to see. And Franschhoek, that French, this is where the French Huguenots that came from France to settle in South Africa, where they settle. And ladies and gentlemen, a fascinating little town with a main road with nice restaurants. I don't know whether you're going there, I'm not sure. But, and then finally Paarl, where I grew up. That's where I was born. I have a huge granite dome. And when the Dutch first arrived in this area, when they saw it for the first time, this was shortly after rain. So the sun was shining through the clouds. It was shining on this rock, and it looked like a pearl to them. So they called it Paarl today. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my university. I put this in, you can see the mountains, very mountainous area. I put this in because there's a funny story. Okay, before I get to this, first about Paarl and the Granite Dome and the KWV. I forgot to tell you this. The KWV is a winery in Paarl with enormous vats. And during the years, I took a lot of visitors to this KWV, the Cape Wine Growing Co-op. And there's this enormous vats, big, like swimming pools. So the story goes, as I was told, that one of the workers drowned in one of these vats. So his friends were telling it the story to, and said, Pete, Paul, Mary, or whatever drowned in one of these vats. So that was, oh shame, that's a pity. So no, he didn't. He died happy. He got out of the vat twice to relieve himself. So whether that's a true story, I can't vow for that, but it's a nice story. Okay, back to Stellenbosch. Ladies and gentlemen, you see that there's sort of a statue standing there, and it's paved with a very red brick. And this was a big park-like place here, but then the university needed a new library. There was not enough land available, so they decided to build this library underground. So beneath this red plain, there is a library 3 stories underground. Now in South Africa we name everything after somebody. So this library was the Kosi Gericke Bibliotheek Library, Kosi Gericke Bibliotheek, KGB, is under the red plain because it's red. And this building, ladies and gentlemen, is the main administrative building, and they call that the Kremlin. So you have the KGB under the red plain at the Kremlin. So it's like Russian, it's students, ladies and gentlemen, all students. Okay, now let's just look at the winelands. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of vista that you will see. The vineyards, the house in the background is a typically Cape Dutch house. So whitewash with thatch roofs. So this could have been in Paarl, this could have been in Stellenbosch, it could have been in Franschhoek. This is the type of thing that you will see in the winelands of the Cape. And this is the rock that I told you. So where the name of the town comes from. So Paarl is not in sight here. You can see to the right of that can be Wellington. I think this is another small town close to Paarl. Okay, let's move on to Hermanus and Agulhas. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please remember this is not in from 1 the best to the number 10. This is random. So Agulhas, let's start off with Hermanus. Hermanus is renowned for whale watching. You go to Hermanus to watch the humpback whales. It's about 120 kilometers from Cape Town. Then you have another thing taking place there. Shark cage diving. A little bit further along the coast, 40 kilometers further along the coast. And the last one